Yo, how's it going? I'm good. How you doing? I realized after last stream that the front window obviously can't be curved; it has to be straight. so, so we need to change that up a bit. Which is weird because they have an angle like this, which I don't think is possible. Do I see the model you added as whip? Which one? The vehicle looks pretty cool. Cheers. We only just started, but I appreciate it. I mean, the design is cool. I guess that's what's actually cool. The proxy is pretty basic. You can't hear music, right? Sorry, man. I can't read your text. I don't know. Oh, I translated. Do you encounter any challenges when controlling curvature using the crease function on this way? Not really. You can pull this stuff however you want, right? You just keep it as low poly as you need and pull the forms you need until you get the shapes you want. The only times you have issues is like here. Based on the topology I have, we have this weird kind of indent, which I don't want, but I'm just aware that after I subdivide up, I'll just smooth this out better. The music good? Okay, cool. Oh, the harvester? To be honest, I'm not usually the biggest fan of giving feedback on things that I myself have made because I know the asset better than anyone else, so I can find 1,000 things to give feedback on. The overall form is looking pretty cool though. For me, like I can just instantly see 1,000 things that are not right, but no one else will know, if that makes sense. Finally, the commercials ended. How many commercials do you get? Thank you taking the time to make this live. It's very interesting and informative to see you work on the mods. Oh, thanks. Appreciate it. Thanks for tuning in. So this needs to curve more. You had a minute of ads? What the fuck? Yeah, I don't really have control of that stuff. I don't pick to run ads or whatever. It just does its thing. Oh, so I guess we just curve this forward. In the end, I don't know if I can match the concept one-to-one anyway, so I'll probably just end up eventually just doing whatever I think looks cool. Finally, anyone else beside me doing a car? Yeah, this doesn't feel right. You're working on bikes? You mean like for work? Yeah, I'm learning 3ds Max, but I think Maya has a nice UI colors. Don't know why Autodesk did not replicate the same. It's funny because everyone, well, on the Blender community hates Maya viewport, which I never understood. I don't see what's wrong with the Maya viewport. Maybe we just pull this forward, actually. Nice. I mean, if you're doing a bike for work, that's what it is, right? I've encouraged people to stop doing motorbikes for personal projects because when I told people like motorbikes are a good portfolio piece, I didn't think like half the internet would do motorbikes. So we need to turn that down a little bit. You have to wrap it up fast. Isn't the stream going to be a distraction? I mean, a ski trip sounds cool though. What is this meant to be? This doesn't feel right. Oh, that's cool. Yo, how's it going, Joe? Are you working in industry now? Do I recall this correctly? Yo, Lock Laurie, how's it going? You're at ILM? Hell yeah. It's funny, I was thinking the other day, like one of my colleagues at Blizzard asked me like how many of my students are in the industry now, and I think it's like 8 of them, which is kind of crazy to think about. How did I match the model with the one in the concept? If you go back to the previous video, you should be able to see the full process of how I did it. It's just keeping the focal length, long lens, and then blocking out basic geo and getting proportions and keeping it loose. But yeah, the previous video has like the full process if you want to check that out. I'm not too worried about matching the concept perfectly, to be honest. I have a feeling I'll probably end up making creative changes. But I at least want to get the general curvature to feel right. If it's not one-to-one, I don't really care too much. It's been a while actually since I've had to match things one-to-one. Yeah, people have been asking for a while to see the full process of modeling, so I thought this would be a good project to show the full process, like lining up cameras and stuff like that. This all needs a lot of work though. Yeah, the problem with cars is the angles are pretty obvious, so they need to be right. I wonder what I'm going to do for this. I assume some form of grill or something. What's that in there? Oh, that's the bottom of this. But yeah, at this point, I probably won't change the camera. If I'll probably do stuff like this, where it matches this side and this side, but it looks different here. If I want to do stuff like that, that's actually kind of cool. There's a lot of ways to interpret concepts, to be fair. That's why it's good to get this stuff in front of supervisors pretty quickly. Like, you want the blocking in front of the supervisor as soon as possible. So this is pretty different on this side, but then it changes this side here. So maybe this comes out more this way. Maybe. Yeah, it's feeling better. Yeah, at the end of the day, what matters most is if it looks good in 3D. Like, matching the concept only matters to a degree. You're fairly new to modeling when you approach more organic spherical shapes for vehicles. Or like Rev 9 you made. Are you using images as your reference, or do you have like real 3D like ZBrush concepts? A lot of time I just do what I'm doing now. I build low poly shapes, like, because this is like the exact same workflow I would do for Rev 9. I would just block out low poly shapes, and if we need some like organic sort of forms, I would just like duplicate, well, not duplicate, I'm going to duplicate now to show you. But if like we need some sort of organic forms, you can kind of get them pretty easily with creasing, like doing stuff like this. And then, oh, don't do that. If you do stuff like this, for example, you end up with kind of these sorts of like ridges and stuff like that. And this is how you do like these sort of like the Rev 9 forms, to put it that way. And you can use creasing to like control flow and stuff like that. So if you just keep the geo low poly and use creasing, you can do crazy shapes like this. And this is how I usually build organic modeling. Just keep super low poly, do stuff like this. And this is how you explore shapes pretty easily. Yeah, creasing is so powerful. I have no idea why a lot of people don't use creasing. Because you can do, look at this, look at these crazy like forms you can get from just a few pieces of geo. And then when you're done, you just subdivide it, and then clean the topology up a bit, and then you have your base geo. Yeah, Plobby3D, thanks for the tier 1. I appreciate it. How's it going? You're at ILM London? Sick. So you're under Ben, right? Yeah, Ben's a cool dude. Talk with him a bit every now and then. If I was still in London, I would definitely head to ILM London. But I am not going back to London, hell no. Living in Canada is a bit nicer. Nah, hell no. If anything, I'm gonna have to move somewhere. It will probably be the US, but I'm like, we'll see what happens in 2028 first. Yeah, going to the US now seems kind of crazy. I think this works. How's Blizzard treating me? Oh, Blizzard's treating me great. It might be like the best I've felt treated in the industry. Not saying I was treated poorly in other places, but they really look after me here, which is cool. Am I going to model the interior of the vehicle? Hell yeah. I think at this stage, like building the exterior of a vehicle is just not enough anymore. You need to make the interior. And what we're going to do is we're going to do some interesting like door opening mechanism and shit like that. We'll figure out some form of like landing gear. Like, to me, I think you can't just build an exterior for a car at least and be like job done, because like this is just not complex enough anymore, I don't think. And also, like, if you do an exterior, if you do an interior, it kind of shows that you're able to like complete an asset, if that makes sense. Like, it's not just a pretty box, but it's actually like a full asset that functions how a car would. I'm going to put some... So I do this quite a lot as well. I put like... I think they call them floaters in games, but it's not actually a floater, to be fair. But like kind of like geo, which represents something I'll put later, if that makes sense. It kind of helps with like camera lineups and stuff like that, just to make sure things are like kind of where I want them to be. Also, it wraps around a little bit. It doesn't have to be perfect, but it's just gonna like float on the surface for a bit, just so I have like a... It also kind of gives you a little bit of a confidence boost as well, knowing that like things are like in the right spots, if that makes sense. Something like that. Do you recommend learning 3D as a career option for the future, given how AI? I wouldn't give a shit about AI, to be honest. That's just my opinion. I think learning 3D will always be valuable. If you like learn AI, you don't actually learn anything about the real world. And I think learning about the real world is the most important thing. Like, this is the thing, right? Like, say for example, you design a car, right? The amount of like thought and questions you have to put into every single aspect of it, like, how many seats is it? Like, what sort of the engine is it? Is the engine on the front or the back? What sort of wheels it's going to use? Like, is it even going to have 4 wheels? Will it have 3 wheels instead? Like, what sort of lights will you use? Like, you put all these individual thoughts into designing a car. like you're gonna have to research all this shit and like work out like, you know, what is the pros and cons of having 3 wheels instead of 4, stuff like this, right? Like how, if we put a 4th wheel on the back, what do we do with the engine? Like all this sort of stuff, right? Meanwhile, if you learn AI, you type in sci-fi car, boom, you've learned literally nothing. Like, and I think that's what a lot of people don't really get about the whole AI thing is you're literally just not learning about how the world works. Where if you actually design yourself, you have to learn this stuff properly. So it's not even about the tools. It's about literally building your building your creative eye and just your vocabulary on like the world. So yeah, learn 3D. Don't worry about AI. Like if new AI tools come out which change things, sure, but you at least have knowledge of how the world works, if that makes sense. In production for this model, would you ask for more interior or landing gear concepts? There's no asking. In VFX, there's no asking for more concepts usually. You get what you're given. It depends, actually. No, it depends. If, like, say for example, the like I built an interior for the ornithopter gunner because the interior didn't exist, but I could just make it up because it wasn't superhero and we just needed something, so they just let me do it. It's like it depends. If there's no interior but it's not super like the important part, usually I can just make stuff up. It just depends what it is. This looks terrible. Maybe over this way. But yeah, I mean, the AI thing, of course, don't get me wrong. It's not like I am not concerned about it at all myself, but it's just like, what are you going to do? Just sit there being mad at the world or just like keep creating? There's, I don't know. I don't see the point of just not doing what you want because Twitter tells you, like, if that makes sense. Staying off Twitter might be a good shout though. Close enough. If my English were better, I could ask a more useful question. Such a shame. That's so good. Would it be possible to purchase the mouse tutorial? What mouse tutorial? Oh, like how I modeled the mouse? Those Patreon videos are long gone, I think so. But yeah, I'm curious, how does everyone else feel about AI? Close enough, I guess. Like on the subject of like job security and stuff like that, like there's always been reasons people were afraid of job security. Like that's nothing new. You feel a lot of concepts people get from AI tend to be a bit samey. Also, they're always garbage. Like they never actually work. A lot of them have impossible forms, which is, honestly, I think that's actually might be a useful skill in the future, is a modeler that is able to figure out the garbage AI art. And that's why I think developing your eye is also important as a modeler. Now, I think the age of just copying something one-to-one is just not there anymore. I think modelers need to be able to problem solve, like artistically, not just technically. Someone just typing prompts, no background in industry or product design. Wait, what? Yeah, typing prompts isn't really going to do too much. Yeah, knowledge of the world, I think, is the most important thing. Like just understanding lighting and stuff like that will help if you're a concept artist, for example. Popping out pretty mid background assets. I don't think I'm not opposed to the idea of proxy AI 3D meshes being made that will be replaced later. Like the whole thing with, to me, the whole thing with Expedition 33, I thought was fucking stupid. Like they used AI to create a procedural texture. No, a placeholder texture, I mean. And then they forgot to take it out. And it was like, it was a single texture I never even saw in the game. But like they got absolutely slammed for that. I'm shocked that Adobe hasn't figured out to make Firefly allow me to fill a piece of concept art. Wait. Yeah, no, I've never really used Photoshop for AI stuff. How do you handle topology when you have to do booleans in geometry? Oh, you just do the booleans and fix topology afterwards. I wish AI was used for UVs. Exactly. Like, why? Where's all the UV tools for topology and UVs? If doing tedious technical tasks for maybe like better retopology is great, but anything generative is really disgusting. I'm not opposed to the idea of like, it's essentially the idea. I mean, if we're putting ethics aside, I think the idea of having like a generative mood board is not too bad. But the outputs are always super generic and garbage. But for just like, here's like 40 images of like the general vibe, maybe, you still need someone to go in and design everything properly because it's just so, you can tell the design's AI. What I hate is like the online Twitter people. I think they're the worst. I've often thought that using an image of concept like one of your car could help imagine what the back. Wait, what? I've often thought that using an image of a concept like the one of your car could help imagine what the back of the car looks like. I'd rather just find reference of a car and just do it myself. I don't know. That's just my thoughts. AI on Twitter is the devil's work. Yeah, I think my biggest issue with AI is just these fucking grifters online constantly praying for the end of our careers, which I think is weird. Like, how sad do you have to be that your whole like identity is about wishing for other people to lose their jobs? It's so fucking weird. That I never understood. One thing I will bring up, which is how I usually think about work, is like, I don't know how people are going to think about this, but I've never seen myself as an artist. Like I see myself as more of like a technician, essentially. Like if I'm building this car, I'm not the artist making the car, right? Like I didn't design the car. I'm building a technical like asset for, like if you're working in film, right? Like you're building a 3D model for the movie. I'm not an artist, to me, at least. That's just how I viewed it. I'm not sure how other people think about that, but I've never really seen myself as an artist. Like I'm hired to create a product for a company, essentially. I absolutely love what I'm doing, but it's not Yeah, if that makes sense. Because I think to a degree, it's also important, like when you're in the industry, to build that disconnect between your work, because if the client wants to change something, the client's going to change something, right? So I think building a disconnect from the work is also important, which is probably why I've always thought like at work, I'm not creating art, I'm creating the product of what they paid for, essentially. I don't know. That's how I've always kind of viewed it. I'm not saying other people can't view it as art. That's just how I personally have always felt about working in the industry. You made some really cool. I mean, I'm making artistic decisions, but I'm saying, yeah. Let me put this better. I'm making artistic decisions, but I don't just sit there at work and think, oh, look at this art I'm making. If that makes sense. Like I'm very non-precious with it and very technical to the aspect of like I'm creating a product. It's not like I'm creating this for fun. If that makes sense. This is my job. Yo, Happy New Year. You think that art when it's personal, like if you want to convey a message, etc., technician POV if you're at work. Yeah, that's the best way I'd put it. But like even this, for example, like to me, I don't think I'm creating art with this. Like I'm showing everyone how I model at work. So it's still the same thing to me technically. If I was doing concept or something, I'm making my own art, maybe. But even this, I don't think I'm making my own art. I'm doing a technical work in progress of how, not work in progress, a technical, process of how I do my job. So it's hard for me to think of this as art, if that makes sense. The painting of Sistine Chapel was also a job, I would argue. It's still art and not just a product. I would definitely think there's a pretty big gap between this and the Sistine Chapel, but I do see what you're saying. What is the trick? I think it's because I'm a modeler. If I was a concept artist, maybe I'd feel differently. But since I'm a modeler, I'm just following the numbers of the images, right? What's the trick for your symmetry workflow? I think I missed something about that. I just group it. I just group the left side, and then I use duplicate special, and then use instance and go -1 and duplicate special. So I don't instance the geo. I instance the group. I reckon advertising, you learn that quickly. The best advice is create time to your personal artsy stuff, but client work is actually a service. Yeah, like I think that's, maybe I explained my view not the best, but that's how I put it as well. A lot of people said stuff. I think I missed something. But yeah, I wish we had AI for topology. But I just never think that's just not gonna happen because it's not as cool to invest time and money in, I guess. I wonder what on earth this highlight is meant to be. I just don't think it's going to be possible to do. There's multiple AI Turbo 2s? Really? Are they good? I think it's a fair take, especially considering the type of modeling you do and the level at which you do it at. Like it's industry, you don't get a lot of say on like creative direction. Yeah. But even then, like at Blizzard, for example, I've been doing more concept as well. A lot more concept, actually. But it's kind of like, I see it as I see it as solving a technical problem, not creating art, if that makes sense. I even as a concept artist, I still see it that way. I think the only way I would see it as art is if I was doing personal work, I think. Because it's kind of like, here's a challenge, solve the challenge, or solve the thing. Would you say you could make artistic choices for the interior of the harvester? Oh, I made a lot of artistic choices on the harvester. Like, did you see the concept I posted? It was like a napkin sketch. I did a lot of creative problem solving on that. But to me, it's still not art. It's making the product for the client. Maybe that's a good way of putting it. If I don't have ownership of the direction, then I wouldn't see it as art. Maybe that's a good way of putting it. These kind of forms are not too bad. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to be too precious if this match is 1-to-1. As long as it's cool, I think that's all that matters. Click, click, click. Oh, can you hear my keyboard? Whoa, why did I get the highlight of this so wrong? Yeah, I press isolate select a lot. Probably too much. I'm good, how you doing? I'm surprised this was so different. Oh, I changed it for that height, didn't I? Where can I see the classes, lectures I have? Classes or lectures? What classes and lectures? Whoa, this is so bad. Why did I do this last time? Once you add some sci-fi lines, it will look really cool. Do I start with this NURBS? Hell no. We are doing low poly creasing stuff. No, I don't really use NURBS at all. Unless it's like, I don't know, like hoses or some shit. Could this work maybe? I mean, I'm going to have to fill this gap when I subdivide up anyway. You're rendering some stuff in Blender? Sick. What stuff are you rendering in Blender? Oh, actually, maybe the fact that the wheel's not here kind of, yeah. I feel like many concept artists feel the same way as you do with the harvester. Once the world is defined, it's all about fitting designs into the mold of the world and story. Oh yeah, totally. It's, I don't know, maybe it's just this jaded senior in a decade in the industry, but like I'm kind of used to like mentally switching out, not switching out, but like if I think something looks cool and good, but then the client doesn't, my opinion is irrelevant. In that case, it's just, we just do the change. And I guess I'm so used to doing that now, which is why I've never thought of it as art, if that makes sense. Maybe. Do you still use Furious Max? I don't see it much, but like Blizzard is all Maya. But yeah, like I don't know much about games. So this is a weird thing. I'm not sure how I feel about this line being disconnected from this one. I think we will cheat and change it. Oh yeah, generalist, I forgot. in ILM use Max, but their whole pipeline is built around it. Well, pipeline in quotation marks, but a generalist. The whole point of the generalist is to not be in the pipeline. But all their tools are built around Max for sure. I forgot about that. It's crazy to think about the fact that I probably don't think I'll ever go back to VFX. Though, hopefully everything works out at Blizzard, but I can't imagine going back to VFX after being at Blizzard. The vibe just feels so different. Like being much more involved in the projects, and obviously because you own the IPs, as opposed to VFX, you're just an outsource essentially. It's been very enjoyable change, I guess. I also find that people in games to be more invested in the product, which is also understandable because obviously, you know, you own the IP, which is very different to you know, film. You're just an outsource essentially. Oh, that's completely off. I'm gonna have to fill the circle out better when I subdivide up. Wait, I shouldn't have deleted the circle. Let me bring it back. You're a VFX artist? I was a VFX artist for like 12 years. I don't even remember anymore. It's been a while. But it's been almost a year that I've been at Blizzard now. What are you doing these days? Yeah, I'm on Blizzard's cinematic team, but there's a bit of crossover with the cinematic team. Seriously, the cinematic artists are like some of the best I've ever worked with. Like the team is fucking legit. Like real top tier. Like you can have your opinion on, I guess, the quality of the cinematics recently or whatever, but like the actual team themselves is pretty fucking good. It's small as well. It's a small team. Yeah, a lot of the fans haven't been super fond of artistic direction. Oh wait, no, not artistic, like story and stuff like that. But like as far as quality goes, like the Diablo, do you all see the recent Diablo cinematic? So fucking good. Actually, give me a sec. I'll be back. Bathroom break? No. I said to check something. Diablo cinematics are insane. Yeah, I know. The recent one, so good. People I know who don't usually care for Blizzard games usually still anticipate their cinematics. Yeah, they're pretty crazy. Collaborating and learning from each other, it must be great. Yeah, I mean, I'm remote as well though, so I am not around the team. But I went and visited them in December and spent a week in the office meeting the team. That was cool. I'm going to exaggerate this a bit. Just curious, how do you switch from creased edge to classical through edge support without losing your edge design? Okay, say we're happy with this. I'll just duplicate it to make an example of it. Say we're happy with this. We just subdivide up. And then we alter the topology however we need to. And then depending if this is enough, like at this level, I might do like another level of like, I don't know, we crease here or something, and then do something like, I don't know, like this or something. Well, not saying I'm going to do this, but you know, we might have a level of like extra detail come in or whatever. And then when we're happy with this, maybe we subdivide up one more time. And then this becomes the base mesh. And then I might do some things like, okay, there's too much density on top. Maybe we'll just reduce some of that a bit. So I'll kind of like clean up if there's too much and kind of balance it out a bit. And then essentially you just go through and just, I mean, I'm not going to do it all right now, but like you just go through and essentially end up replacing your triple edging. I mean, your thing with triple edging. Obviously you fix that up. And then here you go. This is your sub-D mesh now. So this is the general idea. You just do things in waves and subdivide up. So say, for example, as I add more topology, I'll also fix the circle before subdividing, like stuff like that. Is there, yeah, totally. If you, I'll show you. So we have this here. We can go Windows, modeling, crease sets, and then you can go create, edit, create sets from mesh, and it will create, oh God, they're all different values. But if we just grab all of them and we select, and then we just add them to another one, and then just get rid of these ones, now we have this. So if even if I'm not selecting this piece of geo, I can select this and it will select everything. So, and then you can just triple edge. So you can do this across your whole mesh if you want. I'm going to break it, but yeah. So this is how you get like the sub-D mesh. I know I went pretty quick, but I think people get the general idea. Hey, from Vancouver. Yo, I'm also in Vancouver. Well, Burnaby technically, which is stupid, but yeah. Does anyone still use Murder? One of the concept artists at work does, but I think that's the only person I know. Seeing you model a Cyberpunk vehicle makes me want to open 2077 again. Yeah, honestly, I've been playing a lot of Cyberpunk, which is why I thought of modeling this vehicle. Yo, you're in France. Sick. Whereabouts in France are you? I've only been to Paris. I'll probably never go again. Did you play Phantom Liberty? Of course. I've played through Cyberpunk maybe 3 or 4 times by now. It's like one of my what's that term called? What's the game that you always come back to? What's the term called? Vehicles 2077 are cool. Yeah, I'll probably look up some 2077 vehicles as a reference for the interior afterwards. God, what's that term? You know, it's like the game... Comfort game. Yeah, that's it. It's like Cyberpunk is like my comfort game. Like if I just feel like just playing something, that will be it. I fucking love that game. I even go to the point where like I don't use fast travel. I have to drive everywhere if I want to do something. Like just because I love the world so much. You never played it? Oh, it's so good. So does this come inwards? I think it does, doesn't it? Kind of, yeah, I guess it does. But yeah, what's probably going to happen is I'm probably going to put the main forms down, and then eventually I'm just going to delete the concept, and I'm just going to do everything by eye after all the main forms are there, just because like I might think some things line up better than the concept does. Usually we can do that sort of stuff to a degree. If your supervisor trusts you, you can kind of just go off the concept and refine it if you know what you're doing, if that makes sense. Love Cyberpunk. Sometimes I play just to take a ride in some cars. I do the same shit. It's so good. Like just put the music on and just like drive around. Like, oh, it's so good. What's up, Chumpa? You're trying to learn Modo, but I can't find any good tutorials. Why Modo though? Why not just Blender? I would think your time would be better spent in Blender, honestly. But yeah, for now, just collide stuff for now. Just trying to like line forms up with each other. Like this form is kind of nice. Oh shit. Id uses Modo. I wonder why they do that. I mean, whatever, works, right? Like, I'm not saying people can't use Modo. I'm just, if you're starting off, I think just learning Blender might be just a better option. Caliburn? Yeah, Caliburn's pretty cool. Actually, let me show you something quick. I'll black my screen for a sec while I look up this. So this dude is the best. This is actually his name's not on the screen. Let me pull it across. This is the dude that designed like all the cyberpunk vehicles. Like just look at this. Look at this wall of like beautiful art. Such a sick car. But yeah, I'll post this guy's ArtStation to the chat, or you can just look at his name here. But this is the guy that designed a lot of the vehicles for Cyberpunk. So cool, and it's all 3D, all of it. It's crazy. But I love his like super long lens for like the main image. Does he say what he uses? Yeah, he does all the interiors and everything. Like, this is crazy. This dude is an absolute machine. Yeah, very, very cool stuff. He uses Max? There we go. I know some studios have been integrating tools into Maya and different programs for so long that it wouldn't beneficial to switch. Yeah, there's no point of. I know like the Blender community doesn't like to hear this, but there would be literally no benefit to switch, like swapping to Blender as a VFX. Well, as any like studio, like individual artists maybe using the like specific tools could be useful, but as a whole, there'd be no reason why the studio would swap pipeline. It's just there's no benefit. Is this meant to be like a vent? Maybe it is meant to be a vent. It's funny, I remember on the last video, someone made a comment about like, oh, Maya still works on Windows. Like, I mean, I honestly didn't really get it really, but like the fact that in like 2026, people are still like fighting about software and like, that shit is so cringe. like who cares? Yeah, I think that shit's so weird. Like, I didn't even get the context of what they're even talking about. Like, I just didn't get it. Yeah, this is really deceptive. Maybe, I do kind of like the curve in, but maybe we should bring this out further. Or maybe we push this in a lot. Yeah, the first few streams is just going to be a lot of pulling edges around, right? Like once you get the edges down, then we can do details. But like a lot of it is going to be just sorting out the flow of the car. So the first streams might not be super interesting, but as far as like modeling goes, we're just going to be pulling edges around, right? Something like that is fine. Yeah, I think the whole like arguing about software is like, it's just so childish. Like it's just not something we really do in the industry. It kind of shows immaturity, I guess, maybe is the way of putting it. Like studios are constantly thinking about like how we can improve our workflows and stuff like that. Like it's not, a lot of the people aren't like dinosaurs set in their ways and stuff like that. But then when you have like a student that's never set foot in the industry ever, trying to educate people with decades of experience, I wouldn't encourage that. You kind of look a bit silly. Is this my glass? Oh, that's crazy. Where's my glass one? That will do. Yeah, you don't wanna look silly in the industry. You know, nothing. You don't want to walk into a new job and tell all your supervisors that you know better than them. That I wouldn't encourage that. Speed running becoming blacklisted. You'd be fucking surprised, honestly. Like some students I've seen say that dumb as shit, to put it lightly. Wait, did I duplicate this? Oh, I did. There's nothing wrong with like showing tools and stuff like that as well, right? It's not, I'm not saying everyone should stay in their box forever or whatever, but like there's a way of doing it, if that makes sense. Yeah, it's just kind of like, you know, it's like the way that ZBrush, like, you know, people aren't like fighting over ZBrush versus Maya. It's just like people hop into ZBrush, do what they need to do in the ZBrush, then they pull it back to Maya, then they'll go back to ZBrush whenever they need to. It's like, I think Blender is also useful in that regard. Like I've used it to, like Blender's mirroring tools are very good. Like with like, you know, box cut and hard ops and stuff like that. Like I've gotten kit bash pieces, chosen like different like center points, then mirrored it and created a bunch of cool like kit bash pieces, like instantly, which you can't do in Maya, which is obviously, you know, not as cool. But then I just export the geo out and take it back to Maya. Like there's nothing wrong with using these tools as like individual, you know, using these packages as tools instead of like have to be like a die-hard fan of it. What the hell is that? Oh, okay. Let me just grab this. Sorry, it's hard to talk and work at the same time sometimes. I just ramble a bit. Yeah, close enough. What is that? Oh, okay. It's feeling all right. Like usually when I work, I like to feel good about the whole model before I even like actually do any topology, right? Like we try and get all the forms in before we do anything. Blender, if hobby, Maya, looking for job. I wouldn't even go that far. I think there's nothing wrong with using Blender as your main software if you also know Maya. Like not only like if you know Maya, but you're not opposed to using it. I think that's the main issue, right? If you're a junior or a student and you're in an interview and they're like, we use Maya here, are you okay using Maya? And you say no, you're just lost the job. Like you never want to be like that. You never want to just come off as like, no, I won't do that. It's just, you just kill the job opportunity essentially. So I think there's nothing wrong with using Blender as your main tool, as long as you know Maya and you're okay with using Maya and you're not going to complain when you have to use it. On the topic of that, should someone new to 3D stick to Blender or use Maya instead if they have access to it through an old student license? I wouldn't use both at the same time. If you like using Blender, I would use Blender, but just learn Maya after you learn the foundation of 3D. I'm guessing you should already know Maya though. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like if you I mean, I think it's unlikely a studio would be willing to train you in Maya. Maybe your work in Blender is so good that they will. I wouldn't bet on that though, because that I would much rather just hire a competent Maya user if we use Maya than an exceptional Blender user that might not want to learn Maya. I think, yeah, if you want to use Blender, I would keep using Blender, but just learn Maya on the side. The main thing is to learn the foundation of 3D modeling, right? If you can model in one program, you can model in the other. It's very transferable. The main thing is like the being opposed to learning new things is the big red flag I'm referring to. Because we have to do that at work, right? Like, you know, when I start at Blizzard, I need to learn the Blizzard pipeline. It's just how it is. Like, I can't be like, well, at DNEG we do this, and like, it doesn't matter. Whatever studio you go to, you have to learn whatever their tool is. So if you're opposed to learning new things, you won't survive in the industry, unfortunately. Yeah, on what Truth Seeker says, I would learn Blender to learn the foundation of 3D modeling and then learn Maya afterwards. This is exactly what I did. I didn't use Blender. I started with Cinema 4D. So for years, I modeled in Cinema 4D. And then my portfolio I did in Cinema 4D, right? Funny enough, yeah, my portfolio I got into the industry is Cinema 4D. But I still learned Maya on the side. And then when they hired me and I had to use Maya, I had no problem, right? Because I just accepted. I think this is the difference as well, right? Like before, if you were told you have to learn a new program for work, you just did it. You didn't, there was no, well, at least in my case, there was no like, oh, I'm going to stick with Cinema 4D, whether you like it or not. Like that just never crossed my mind. You just simply learned what you were told you have to learn. Yo, Johnny boy, thanks for the tier 1. I appreciate it. Thanks so much. IMO Blender is one of the strongest modelers with add-ons. I agree. Blender's modeling is better than Maya's. But if you build dependency on those add-ons and you end up in a situation you can't use those add-ons, you might be in trouble. Crazy to think that new hires actually might demand that. I've seen some crazy shit from students. I've heard some deranged shit from students about using Blender in the industry before. I'm not saying it's common, but yeah, like some people have said some crazy shit to me. I'm just like, good luck, you're gonna need it. Do you think Houdini will ever take over Maya for modeling? Not really. I don't think it's their market. Houdini is taking over for everything else, but I don't think for modeling. It's just at that point, there's just no point of changing modelers, right? Whoa, why is this so different on that side? I guess we're gonna have to do this. I mean, this could be cool, I guess. I think what a lot of like Blender users that haven't worked in the industry also don't understand is like a lot of times it's just not worth it. Like even if the tool is better, the amount of money and time lost to retrain your whole team is just not worth it. Like I've tried to use Blender at work and it's like I can feel myself being slower than I would be in Maya just because I'm faster in Maya. And I'm like, I don't have time for this. I need to just get the work done. So I just go back to Maya. Like that literally happens to me in real time. When I try to use Blender at work, I'm like, you know, the lack of object grouping and all this sort of stuff. I'm like, this is wasting my time. I need to get the work done. So we just go back to Maya. Do you think you'll eventually need to learn Houdini as well? As a modeler, I don't think it hurts. Not to do modeling, but I did start learning Houdini, but then I left VFX, so probably not anymore. there's no way to get as fast in Maya unless I hard swap for probably a year or two. Yeah. But if you were to work in the industry, you just won't have that choice. You will be forced to use Maya. Depends where you go though, obviously. So if you're forced to use Maya, you'll overcome that. Are you allowed to pick the software you use? Depends where you are. In my current situation, I probably could pick whatever software I wanted because I'm kind of in concept. But yeah, it depends. If you're a concept artist, you can use whatever you want, right? Some studios might be more open to a modeler using Blender. It's hard to justify it, honestly. Wait, what's this over here? I think the problem is like, okay, I'll put it this way. If a studio hired me with all of my experience and I'm like, I want to use Blender, they would be more likely to let me use Blender than someone that's never worked in the industry before and has no track record, if that makes sense, right? Like that's another thing you got to keep in mind. Like I might have a higher chance of getting to use Blender at work if I wanted to than someone that's never worked in the industry before. Like it's just too risky. Like that's the thing you have to also realize when you hire like a student or like a junior, they are a risk. Like, I know it sounds mean to say, but they are a risk. Because not only do you have to train them up yourself, you also don't know if they're going to be able to perform in the industry because they don't have a track record yet. So if a junior also wants to use a software which is not used by anyone else on the team, it just adds more to the risk. So imagine you're trying to train your junior and the lead or the senior doesn't know Blender. You're kind of screwed. You can't really get the full support you need. In every company you've passed through, there were specific pipeline tools to learn. Yes. Was it the most difficult thing? No, all the pipelines are all the same shit. It's all the same. It's just different names and different conventions for things, but it's generally the same process. Like there's standards for a reason, right? But there might be a subtle difference. Like I don't know. They put the material name in the geo, something like that, right? It's like that sort of change, if there is a change. Where the other studio doesn't. Like it's just stuff like that. Some pipelines are easier than others. That is also true. As a modeler, okay, I'll say this though. As a modeler, the pipeline's usually pretty indifferent. Like what we have to do, well, as a hard surface modeler specifically, maybe if you're dealing with blend shapes, you might have to deal with more bullshit. But as a hard surface modeler, pipeline's usually pretty indifferent, honestly. You live outside the pipe, lucky boys. Yeah, I know, right? To a degree. I mean, we feed the pipe, right? No one else can start until we publish stuff. Just work for studios that use Blender, like the studio that made Mortal Shell. Oh, Vitaly's studio. Sure. I mean, that's also the thing, right? You don't have to work in a studio that doesn't use Blender if you don't want to. It's just up to you. Like if your dream is to work on Star Wars, you're probably going to have to learn Maya. Like it's just stuff like that, right? USD seems the new black. What does new black mean? But yeah, USD is becoming the norm, I think. I haven't had to deal with USD though. I haven't done too much with it. This point here is kind of bothering me. Oh, wait, I totally fucked that up, didn't I? That should be down there. I'm just doing like a temp cut on the, like this is like a, oh god, it's like a temp floating piece of geo that I'm not too worried about. It's just kind of a visual guide of where the window will be. Oh god. That'll be fine. That looks fucking terrible. All right, we're gonna pull this back a bit more. Yeah, this, I don't think this physically works. Having the straight angle, plus also being flat, plus also, so we're gonna have to keep playing with this a bit more. But this is pretty normal. Like you get concepts which are just like physically impossible. Because this doesn't feel right. So maybe we pull this back in. This is why blocking is so important. Spending time doing this before we commit to anything, because we could just spend a lot of time doing something wrong. They have like a straight line, but this doesn't imply a straight line. I say with interplay or like Begin Street, yeah, I've seen some indie game devs who specifically want Blender experience, but yeah, it's best not limit yourself, for sure. Biggest pet peeve for a student I'm teaching? My students have all usually been pretty good, so I'm not. Are you saying a pet peeve for a student like I've taught, or pet peeve for like students in general? I guess that's my question. Because my current student, well, my students I've had have been pretty good. I mean, by default, the biggest pet peeve, or that I've taught. All right, I'll finish my current thought first. But my biggest pet peeve with people, this isn't my current students, but in general, because like people would ask me for feedback online. My biggest pet peeve is people asking for your feedback and then just not doing the feedback. I think that's the biggest fucking annoying thing ever. like people expect, sometimes it comes off like I don't really respond to people online anymore. But like when I was first starting off, I would, like people would ask me for feedback. I would give them a massive essay of feedback that they should address and stuff like that. And I'd be like pretty constructive with it, right? And then they would just leave me on red. And they just would have no intention of doing feedback. It would be kind of like just to like, maybe they were expecting me to praise it or something, and I would actually just rip it apart. It's just, that stuff would kind of annoy me. It felt like it wasn't actually to get my feedback, if that makes sense. That's my biggest pet peeve. But my current students don't do that. They obviously listen to what I say, which is good. Biggest pet peeve with current students. Well, not current, like right now, but in general. I don't know. My students have all been pretty good. Nothing really comes to mind that has bothered me. Because I'm usually pretty picky with who I pick as a student. Kids these days. Yeah. But yeah, no, it would happen a lot. It got to the point that I just stopped responding to people. Because I'm like, I don't want to waste my time with these people online anymore. So if I have ignored your request for feedback, it's nothing personal. I'm just tired of it, to put it honestly. But now my students have been pretty good. They don't really do anything that would be a pet peeve to me. Do I generally take everyone? Oh, definitely not. I turn down more people than I take, for sure. Nothing personal, kid. So good. Yeah, like I do feel kind of bad. Like a lot of people do message me, and I just, sometimes I'm just too tired, honestly. Like I have my own life to deal with. Like So like, you know what I mean? Like I don't necessarily want to like work a full day of work and then open Discord to like 10 messages of people expecting feedback. I'm like, just, I just can't be bothered for them for now. So it's not personal. It's just, you know, sometimes I just want to go do some flips or some shit. What do I look for? A genuine interest in hard surface is always the main thing. Like not someone that just wants to like get a job, but someone that actually cares about what they're doing, if that makes sense. I am being asked to teach someone and I wonder what on earth can I tell them other than do this and that and that's it. Everything else is grinding if people... Yeah, but you'd be surprised. One thing that has been super refreshing, I don't know if any of my current students or previous students are in the stream at the moment, but like this happens all the time. Like a student will be like stuck on an area and then I'll just like grab like an edge and just like move it and it just solves all the problems. Like it's stuff like that, which is kind of funny to experience. Like a student will be stuck on something and like a professional just has like a different eye for like how this can be resolved, right? And there's so many times I'll be like, just grab this, move this here, and you've resolved the problem, right? So there's definitely a value in teaching other people for sure. Thing is how... Oh yeah, Yuri's right here. How's it going, man? Yeah, can you post your robot? I want to show everyone the robot you did. Actually, I'm gonna refill my water while you get the thing. Oh, sick. All right, we're gonna have a look at Yuri's robot that we did in private mentorship. Yuri's fucking crazy. Yeah, he took this a lot further than I thought we were gonna go. But like, it's like, where's all your animation stuff? Yeah, this thing's insane. Yes, this stuff is the crazy shit. Like the fact that he built this thing to fully articulate and work properly. Yeah, it's all rigged and it all functions, which is crazy. I didn't expect him to do this, but yeah. Of course, I intended him to build to function to a degree, but I didn't think he would go this far. He definitely took it to like the next level. Yeah, crazy stuff. But yeah, Yuri did a private mentorship with me. Oh yeah, then the individual pieces. Yeah, sick. God damn, it's a lot of UVs. Are you gonna texture this thing? You got so many UVs, I would definitely texture it. How does one even go about something like that? You just start with proxies. You keep it simple. You work out the functionality of the basic forms first. Like it's not like you start with like this crazy arm joint. Like yeah, I mean, Yuri can also talk himself about what he did. Yeah, this is super cool. But yeah, texturing and rendering that thing, I think will be sick for sure. How long did it take? He spent a while on it. He took it a lot further than I thought he would go, though, so that's fair enough. Do you think you need to use ZBrush as well? I think it's useful for sure. I don't use ZBrush that much, but yeah. Knowing ZBrush is always good. Oh, we can see the inside of the car, I just realized. So let's put that there, actually. I might block the interior at the same time. That might be a good idea. Oh. Maybe. You've been doing a motorcycle engine for 4 months? Crazy. There is, to a degree, I don't know how much people should worry about this, but there is too long on something as well. It depends on the final result, though. Like, Yuri did spend a long time on his robot, but I think it's of such high quality, it justifies it. Like, if I spent 4 months making this car, to me, that might be a bit too... actually, I don't know. It depends. I think because the issue is, like, from my timeline versus our students is very different, obviously. Yeah, I'll definitely texture at some point. Took a bit of a break. Oh, it's early. Want to do a small texture project first? Yeah, totally. I think it's a good shout. I would texture like a small prop or something. Actually, you don't even do that, man. I would honestly just take the head and texture the head by itself and just use that as your warm up. That I think would be a good idea. Instead of texturing a completely random thing, I would just texture the head. And that can be your warm up because you're also going to get into the flow for the rest and stuff like that. All right, let's do a chair. Yeah, I think it'd be good if we do the interior at the same time because you never know, like we could end up building the exterior and then the interior just doesn't work. So maybe we should do both at the same time. This can be my lovely chair. I should get a person as well at some point to put in. Is it okay to share a link from YouTube on a vehicle I'm working on? Sure. Altruism Digital? Oh, Chung Chung. I used to work with her at ILM. She's at Blizzard now, I think. On the Diablo team. I think. Artists who work in both Blender and UE are in high demand right now. Sure. I mean, Unreal is a useful tool right now. Didn't know we worked together? Yeah, we were both at ILM a while ago. her maybe I shouldn't talk about her personal life. Someone she knows is also a Blizzard. I'll just put it that way. But yeah, the industry is very small. Everyone knows each other. It's that guy that did the Alita shot a few months ago. Alita shot? What Alita shot? How many hours do I work a week? Me personally? Just standard work hours. TDS Max user here for 15 years. How is Max doing in the industry? I don't really see Max that much, but in modeling purely. But I think in what am I gonna say? I think at ILM, their environment team still uses Max. So I guess this is gonna be like a back wall now. Is that? Oh yeah, of course that would be under the glass there, I guess. Yo, Broken Robot, thanks for the Prime for 41 months. Holy shit! Thanks so much. Yeah, about 40 hours a week. I might do a little bit here and there depending on the needs of things, but yeah, usually, like I'm not doing anything crazy. Like sometimes there might be a deadline or something that needs a bit of overtime, but it's max 50 hours in a week maybe. In VFX, I've done way more than 50 hours a week. So we're not doing that anymore, which is good. Okay, so we got our seat. This can just be like a little back wall. Yeah, I worked some crazy hours in VFX. So I'm never gonna do that again. Is that? Let me just grab this quickly, just to make sure it goes past the door frame. It does not. I mean, it does go past the door frame. We're gonna move that back a bit. About there. Figuring out how to make the concept work. I guess. Just kind of used to having to do it. It's not really something I think about, I guess. But yeah, definitely. When it all fits together nicely, it's always a good thing for sure. I have no idea what the interior is going to look like, so I'm just going to do some super proxy thing for now. It's funny, I do have a friend that actually does have a Lamborghini, and you'll be surprised how small they are. Like, they're fucking tiny. When you open the door, you have to like literally like slide into it. It's kind of crazy. But yeah, I have no reference for what a car interior looks like currently, so I'm just gonna not really do too much. Let me just group this stuff together. But yeah, this is something I make my students do for like months. Like Yuri literally just said, we stayed in blocking for like 2 months. Like we want the blocking to be good, and then the details are the easy part. Pull that L. How do I like living in Vancouver? It's expensive as fuck, but it's all right. being a concept art, you just got Doug Cheng's book. Sick. Yeah, Doug Cheng is a beast for sure. You'll be moving to Vancouver in 6 weeks. Wish you luck. Yeah, I hope you have some money saved up for rent. Wherever I lived before, London, which I'll definitely not go back to, and Perth in Australia, which is where I'm from. Hey Andrew, I'm a character focused on realistic human models and facial sculpture AAA games. I wanted to add some stylized pieces, arcane style, to my portfolio to show artistic range for hiring managers and leads. Does demonstrating style flexibility make you more attractive, or do you prefer portfolios that are strictly focused on one style? It could go either way. Depends where you're going, right? If, say, for example, you're applying for a VFX job, but half of your portfolio is stylized stuff for animation, that stuff will kind of be irrelevant in your portfolio. So in VFX, at least, they treat it that way. Games might be different, but for VFX, if your work isn't tailored to the studio, it will essentially become null. So there's that to consider. I don't think it's necessarily bad to show range, but at the same time, it also means, like, say, for example, your realistic stuff could look good, but then your stylized stuff looks bad. So you could lose the job over that. So it depends. It can go either way. I don't necessarily think there is a right or wrong answer. It's purely on your execution of the work and what studio you're talking to. Some studios won't care, some studios will care. It just depends. Like, I know, like, even, like, I think even at ILM, like, they don't even, I think maybe it's changed with TV now, but there was a point where, like, TV wasn't even really considered at the quality of film. I think maybe things have changed now with how film is. I mean, TV has gotten much better now, but I think at some point TV was also not treated as film work, if that makes sense. It's just, I don't necessarily agree with that, but all right, big question. Which side are we going to put the steering wheel on? Do we want to put this in America, where we have to go on the steering wheel on the left side, or should the steering wheel go on the right side? Cyberpunk is America. In the middle? Sick. Will it be on the right side or the wrong side? That's a good question, Gujon. Steering wheel on rail system that can slide along the dash the other side. I like what you're thinking, but that would significantly decrease the coolness of the dash, because the dash wouldn't be as cool anymore. I guess technically what we could do is create some sort of steering wheel which folds and integrates into the dashboard itself. So we can do this actually. Maybe we could think of this out. We'll have one on each side, but it can fold away and integrate seamlessly into the dashboard in front. That could work. No need for a steering wheel, just put an iPad there. This is where I think sci-fi design has to not be realistic though, because it's like, say for example, you have like a sniper rifle. Eventually there'll be a point where you don't need a scope for a sniper rifle. It'll just be like integrated into you. But entertainment always has a scope, so the person instantly knows the sniper rifle. I think it's the same way for cars. Technically it gets to the point where you can probably just plug yourself into the car, but steering wheels look cool, so we're going to have a steering wheel. Cool factor always comes out on top. Always, yeah. Crimson's correct here. Oh yeah, we could find a way of putting a motorcycle inside of the car, of course. I'm just gonna put some form of grill here, just so I stop looking at this annoying thing. Wait, what? All right, for now, we'll forget the steering wheel. Okay, let's see how this looks actually. Batmobile already did that? Yeah, I know. That motorcycle doesn't work at all, but yeah. I might flatten the front as well. This just feels kind of wrong. I figure out what your car hood emblem can be. The snail? Fuck no. Nah, the snail has to die. We'll see. Oh shit. I'll probably do something kind of similar to like. Actually, why would this wouldn't make sense either? You wouldn't really have the the vent for the the Lamborghini because. We'll just add it anyway, just because it'll look cool. All right, what's inside this look like? It fits surprisingly well. This is gonna be a huge door though. It'll be fine. We'll figure it out. All the discussion just for the steering wheel to be deleted? Nah. We came up with a good idea of integrating the steering wheel into the dashboard. So it technically is, we'll just think of it integrated at the moment. Is it true that having a lot of sketches and figurative work in your portfolios on top of at least 2 production pieces is necessary? Hell no. For production modeling, no chance. You don't need sketching at all. Like, that's just nothing to do with our job. Sketches and your creativity in your studios is just as important as production pieces. I strongly disagree. I remember seeing someone say something online which I extremely disagreed with, where they said the only thing that really matters is your personal work, and someone had some production work, but it wasn't the best, and they were told not to use it. And to me, I think that's a bad decision, because even if the work itself isn't impressive, it shows you've worked in production. It shows you've worked with a team. It shows you've been able to hit your deadlines. It shows you've been in the environment. If you cut that out because it's not impressive and just have personal work, you're just essentially a student again. I think it's good if you don't have strong professional work, you also have good personal work, and then incorporate it within your strong or your weak professional work, if that makes sense. Yeah, bad news. No matter how incredible your future sims are, I'm not getting dragged back into World of Warcraft. Yeah, I'm back into World of Warcraft again. It's a bit hard when I get it for free now. But yeah, I was actually playing World of Warcraft again before I started at Blizzard, so that was kind of funny. Warcrack. Yeah, it's funny because like I started playing WoW again, and then like 2 months later Blizzard reached out. I'm like, whoa, okay, what's the chance of this? One can do both, but in spare time professionally is not. I think it depends. Like if you have both, use both. Like I don't put personal work in my portfolio anymore, obviously. But there was a time where I did when I was like a junior, because it was nice. It was kind of good showing like personal work when I didn't have much professional work, But I think like showing sketches and stuff is irrelevant. Like that stuff is just nothing to do with. Sorry, Expedition 33 music just came on and it's so fucking good. There's, fuck, I lost my train of thought. But yeah, like you don't, sketching has nothing to do with what we do as a modeler. You don't need to incorporate it. You did hardcore WoW? Oh, okay. I thought you meant like recent hardcore WoW where you have like one life and stuff like that. Yeah, it's funny because I was actually heavy into WoW at the same time. For me, it was like 2005 to 2007 was like my hardcore WoW days. Yeah, I was similar. Like to me, it was literally like an addiction. Like it was hard to get out of World of Warcraft when I was a kid. Now it's a bit easier because I have a life and bills to pay and stuff. But back then, I played WoW a lot. Have you gotten into making your own concept work? You mean like personal? Yeah, I did like a concept course. I did Jama's concept course a while ago, which was really good. I highly encourage that if someone wants to do that. Let me copy this one actually. So they do have something like this. Oh. I still can't believe, I know we briefly touched on this, but I still can't believe like people like suddenly say like Expedition 33 isn't a work of art anymore because of one AI texture. It's crazy. One texture suddenly ruins the entire game. It's crazy. The soundtrack alone is like peak art to me at least. That's dope. Congrats. Congrats on what? Yeah, I agree. I think online people are a bit too extreme with it. I do agree with a lot of people's points and stuff, but sometimes it can be a bit too much. It was a placeholder they removed, yeah. But like to dismiss the entire game because of a single like placeholder texture that got replaced and I never even saw, I think it's a bit too far. The spinners in Bladerunner have windows in the footwells as good for landing. Will you be doing that? Do they? That's pretty cool. I haven't looked into. I should probably gather some reference, but we could do something like that. My friend actually made the spinners for the latest Blade Runner movie, and now he's like the VFX supervisor on Dune. So that dude has had a good career for sure. He was the guy that actually hired me for Dune 1, funny enough. Someone said it's good to have figurative study work. I completely disagree. If you want to be a modeler, why would sketching be useful? In your portfolio, I mean. Sid Mead has really amazing concept art for original spinner interior. Yeah, I'm kind of wondering like if I should just design my own interior though. That could be kind of fun. They had to find a reason to hate the game because it nothing else for them to hold on to. Yeah, I think it's just because it won so many awards that a lot of people kind of had a hatred for it, which is a bit of a shame. Have you been using AI for modeling? No, AI for modeling is not useful at all. Like what I'm doing right now is literally how I work at work. AI models are... I've seen some AI models. They're essentially just glorified scans. Your professor has been pushing it a lot? Huh. Sounds like a pretty bad professor. If you're learning modeling, I wouldn't do AI meshes. I just want people hate AI and love the game, and when it feels bad to know that the thing you love, use something you hate regardless if it's something small. I don't know. If you can dismiss an entire thing like Expedition 33 over like the most smallest insignificant thing, I don't know. I think it's a bit too much. If you found out the entire art direction was generative AI, then sure, I agree with that. I would feel betrayed if I found out the whole art direction was bad. But a single placeholder texture, I think that's not anything to get too upset about. You wouldn't have hated AI if it didn't steal art. Yeah, it's the ethics behind that part which is the problem for sure. And all the stupid grifters on Twitter. You tried it came out horrible. Maybe in 3 years it will be decent. The only... I think... Okay, this is something where I can see AI meshes being useful. Is essentially just doing a proxy for you. Say for example, I don't know, layout need to put something into layout need to start using something, and there's no time to build it. If you can generate a 3D mesh, which is shit, but it's good enough for layout to use, and then you rebuild on top of it, that I think could be useful. That essentially is just like a glorified scan at that point. Because we do use scans, right? From like photogrammetry. It's essentially the same as photogrammetry. Grok put Andrew in a bikini. I think that shit is so fucking weird. Like, I think what also hurts the AI thing is just how bad people use it. Like all the disinformation, like all this absolute bullshit. Like there's so much bad stuff out there. Your professor thinks the future is AI, so if we use AI, we have an edge of others. I would completely disagree with that. Because if you're taught how to use AI, I mean, we had this discussion a bit earlier, about with this car, right? As I'm building this car, I'm thinking about like the logic of like how will the door open? Like, will there be, imagine if this thing had wheels, like, is there enough space for the wheel to turn? Like, how should we incorporate the engine into the back? Like all these sorts of things, you have to now research the real world to figure out how these things work, right? If you just use AI to generate the shit for you, you don't think about it. So you're not learning. There's a lot more to this than just learning the program, right? There's quite a lot in learning how the real world works. And I feel if you just rely on AI, you just skip the most important thing, which is understanding, like building your visual library. And that's the main reason a lot of these Twitter people don't realize their work looks so bad, because they have no visual library. It's fundamentals. Yeah, observation. Like it's understanding the world around you. You skip a lot of that by just relying on AI. Ironically, SketchUp recently released an integrated AI generative extension that produces models with shockingly good geo. There are no sliders for the density or refinement, but the straight. It's the best. Grok needs to go to, it needs a hard reset. Yeah, totally. That's why, like, I know. Okay, I'll just put it this way. Even when I was starting to get in the industry, way before AI, there was always the fear of jobs. Like it's always been there. It's always existed. The fear that we'd lose our jobs. You know, with like the rise of, like, for example, the studios in India. Like the existence of the fear of losing your job has always been there. It's just a new thing now. But the way I deal with it, I just do what I think is fun. I just work hard and do what I think is cool. And then if the career starts to pivot in different ways, we just bend to pivot with it. I think it's not a good idea to just throw yourself into something fully, right? Some new technology. Because like most of what we do now, we're still polymodeling everything. It's disheartening when you try so hard to not use it and he says to use it. What are you studying though? Like what is he trying to teach you? Is it Maya? Yeah, we're using Maya. Relying on AI also robs one of the opportunity to finding something new in an external form of exploration. True. Hard surface modeling. All right, I have a question. Where do they work? Where do they work is a big question, actually. When do you decide to use Maya over Blender? Well, most of the time I use Maya. The only time I use Blender is, like, say for example, I have a heavy Boolean techie piece. Maybe I'll export this out and do that in Blender and then bring it back later. Getting his sniper out. No, it's just like, because there's a lot of instructors that just haven't really worked in the industry and don't know how we do things, but then teach gospel of how things should be done. And sometimes I heavily disagree with a lot of instructors out there. I think, yeah, like the amount of, like, even private mentorships I've had where, like, someone went to school for 3 years, then we do a private mentorship and they literally say, like, in 3 hours I learned more than you than 3 years in a school. It's just, I'm a bit iffy when it comes to some schooling stuff, because, like, sometimes it can just be so incorrect. Yeah, I've seen, like, instructors say that kit bashing shouldn't be done. And I'm like, that is the most fucking mind-blowing thing I've ever heard, because, like, kit bashing is so fundamental to hard surface modeling. So, like, yeah, I always would take what instructors say with a grain of salt. I mean, take what I say with a grain of salt as well, right? Like, you can completely disagree with my opinion on this stuff, and that's also fine, right? I have my opinions of this. A lot of people have other opinions, but yeah, you don't have to listen to me, right? I just do what I show people what I do. If they want to do what I do, that's cool. If they don't want to do what I do, that's also cool. Like, there's lots of different ways to do this, right? He has a lot of experience in the industry. However, I feel like I'm teaching myself everything on your own. That's why I also don't understand. How can you have so much experience but can't teach? Yeah, I'm sorry to hear that. That's not cool. You would hope you would be getting what you're paying for. Say the name? No, don't say the name. We don't need to dox this dude. Well, not doxing, but you know what I mean. We don't need to put him on blast that much. But I don't think there's anything wrong with toying with the idea of using AI, like Geo. But I think professionals should be experimenting, not teaching students to do it, because you're kind of cutting out their learning significantly by doing that. Yeah, no, don't give me his name or anything. I was just curious if he actually had experience, because there's a lot A lot of professors or whatever don't have experience. No, so this curves a bit actually. Interesting. But yeah, the amount of like times I've heard like instructors say like there's no jobs in hard surface modeling to like students of mine and stuff like that. I'm just like, what are you saying? Like, what are you talking about? Yeah. But like I said, like this is just my opinion, like on stuff. Like people don't have to listen to what I say. It's just what I think. If people like what I say, that's cool. If they disagree with me, that's also cool. I just do what I do, and if people like it, that's cool. I kind of like this curve. It's kind of nice. Some with experience peaked in the 90s. Yeah, I totally get that. Hey Andrew, good to see a stream again. And yeah, everyone that I have seen that has been super excited about AI and VFX no longer has a job. Oh god. I shouldn't laugh at stuff like that, but yeah. Those who can do, those who can't teach, those who can't teach shitpost on Twitter. Yeah, I kind of got it. I've gotten over about arguing with people on topology and stuff like that. I just don't care anymore. This door I need to get better. My concern is if I bulge the door too much, it's going to look weird. I have a feeling when I cut it anyway, it will end up being that way. Oh yeah, it's annoying because I'll ask him how to get about something and it always goes back to AI. Really? But this is what I mean. You're essentially he's outsourcing the teaching to AI, I feel like. Instead of giving you the solution to your problem, he's telling AI you to figure out with AI. I think that is not good. I don't think anyone has ever tried to make a topology AI model. Have they? Meshing tools. Yeah, well, this is the thing. Like their meshing tools and environments are all pretty good anyway, right? He's always asking chat, like ChatGPT. That's crazy. Sounds like he doesn't know how to answer your question. Yeah, honestly, that kind of sounds right. If he is just telling you to use AI with everything, he might simply just not know the answer himself. Which is, it's okay. Like, it's not, I don't think, like, there's so much shit I don't know the answer to. But I just simply don't teach that subject if I don't know the answer to it. Wait, what is this? Oh, it's meant to be this thing. Yeah, like say for example, with my students, I'm always upfront about like I don't know shit about texturing. like come to me if you want modeling, but if you want help with your texturing, you might want to seek another mentor. I don't like the idea of trying to teach something I can't do, so I'm very upfront about that. He just thinks AI is a cheat code, faster workflow. Yes, to someone that actually knows what they're doing. If you're a student learning, you shouldn't be using AI for any of this stuff. Like, literally, like, the idea of like someone also mentioned the other day about like, why don't you use a camera lineup tool to line up the camera? And I think like just learning the skill of just being able to do it by yourself is useful. Like I still do it to this day, like line the camera up, and it doesn't take long to do. It's just another tool in my belt essentially. But like say for example, I was at a studio where I couldn't get access to that tool, I wouldn't be stuck. I could just simply line the camera up myself. So I think, you know, tools are good and stuff, but I think learning the fundamentals of how to do this stuff can also be very useful for sure. So this is going to be a weird shape here. Bring this down here. Yeah, it's a bit of a shame to hear someone pushing AI so much to a student. Especially like, what do you... If they're just asking ChatGPT for everything, why can't you just ask ChatGPT for the answer? Why do you have to pay for school? Jay Machado? What's this? Oh yeah, Jay's course is cool. Is that right? Kind of. Kind of right. Good enough for now, at least. Oh shit. I haven't saved it all this whole time. That's not good. Shit. Imagine. What is this? Oh. Oh no, I do need that. And then this is pushed in a little bit. No autosaves? Nah, I don't have autosave on. That's probably not good. I usually just save very often myself. This looks terrible, but we'll fix it later. As long as I get... Oh, the wheel goes back in. Weird. Whatever. So... Oh, okay, that goes there. Wait, what? Quit tempting the Maya crash? Yeah, I know, right? Maya's been pretty good to me so far. This is another thing I don't understand. Everyone talks about how Maya crashes so often, and my Maya usually doesn't. So I don't know. I don't know what people are doing with their Mayas to cause it to crash so often. But I'm just doing poly modeling, right? Like, what I'm doing isn't super intensive, yeah. But yeah, like what I'm doing at the moment is just kind of getting the general kind of camera lineups of stuff. But what I'm going to do afterwards is just eventually just delete the concept and go based on what looks best later. So that's the workflow we're going to do. We're just keeping it simple for now. Well, we're just blindly following the concept, and then eventually I'll go through and make it better. Oh, that's completely off still. Glistnoff. Curious, do you have any traditional experience or have any traditional books about design like Scott Robertson? I actually do have his book. I didn't really use it much, but I'll show you. Let me find the tutorial, not tutorial, actually it is a tutorial. There's a tutorial that taught me a lot about design. Let me just pull it up. What's his name? Here it is. This guy did a thing on hard surface design. I thought this was the most useful. This one here. Visual design basics. This one. It goes through this stuff. So a lot of the decisions I usually make at work are all based around this stuff, pretty much. So yeah, if you want a tutorial that's totally worth it, look up Alex Senechul's tutorial. I mean, it's a paid for course, but it's like $20 or something. It's totally worth it. Oh, sorry, I missed quite a few YouTube comments. I'll get to that in a sec. Do you think students are more likely to hire someone with a school degree? No, it's irrelevant. The only thing that the school degree helps with is get you a visa. Aside from that, no one has ever asked me about my school. But visa is the one benefit of a school. It helps get sponsorship. All right, let me catch up on some connections. Yeah, probably can. But you can make a lot of connections online as well, honestly. But as far as like physically degree is irrelevant. But if you're already in having the interview, then technically the connections aren't as needed. Wait, I guess you get what I'm saying. I'm saying if you were in the interview already and they ask about degree, it doesn't matter, aside from sponsorship. Yeah, it remotely, no, remotely doesn't matter. You don't, my degree, well, I don't even have a degree, but me working in Vancouver doesn't affect Blizzard here. Yeah. All right, let me go to the YouTube ones. SCAD? I've heard of the name, but I don't know anything about the school. What did I miss? When I try to model something in a subd workflow, I end up with problem areas, usually in the large curve panels where multiple places meet. What's your approach? So your only issue is you simply need more topology there. Like, if say for example we have like a form like this, right? And then you have a low topology like this, and then you start cutting forms in, you're going to have like raised areas and shit like that. The only way simply around that is you just simply have more topology, and then you can start cutting into these shapes. So if you have like curved forms that you're having issues like that, you just need more topology. That's the only solution to it. Will this be archived? Oh yeah, it's all on the YouTube channel. Yeah, people look for too many shortcuts, but only if you know what you're doing. Yeah, I think like on the subject of like AI and geo and stuff like that, like I could find uses for it, but I don't think a student should be doing it. Now, in terms of traditional, this might not apply since you're a hard surface, but do you think it's worth doing traditional online art school? Like New Masters Academy, someone also says, oh, it's easier to iterate and train your eye via drawing. I'm an inspiring character artist for games. A lot of people have strong opinions on this. Yeah, especially the character side, they have a lot of opinions on like gestural drawings and stuff like that. For hard surface, I don't think it's as needed, but I would only do it if you enjoy it. Like if you hate drawing, I wouldn't invest your time drawing. That's just what I feel. If you don't enjoy exploring gestural forms and stuff through sketching, I wouldn't do it. But yeah, the character side have pretty strong opinions on this stuff.
To me, I just kind of feel like if it's not part of your job, it shouldn't matter. Like my ability to sketch cars shouldn't determine if I can get a job modeling this, because it's irrelevant. If I can show I can model the car, that's all I really need, right? You know, Torfek, who I believe is incredibly talented both modeling and technical game art. Well, that dude just like runs the studio now, right? He cannot draw for shit. There you go. I can't draw for shit either. Most modelers I know can't draw for shit. I don't think it's very needed. For concept maybe, but not for modeling. It all comes down to the eye, whether it's 3D or drawing is essentially the same. Totally. Like I couldn't draw to save my life. The most amount of like drawing I'll do is like, I might like take a screenshot. Actually, I don't even know if this is appearing on the stream. Oh no, this is actually isn't. Can you see my drawing? Or is this frozen my screen actually? Oh, it is? Cool. All right. Like I might just do that, right? I might like literally just like sketch like panel lines. Like this is, to me, like this is like the extent of my drawing, right? Like that's what I do. Nothing more than that. Any chance you can tell you about putting letters into an engine? Yeah, that sort of stuff is not super fun. I mean, the only thing you can do is like I would model the letters on top and then maybe boolean them into the surface and then fix the topology. There's that pretty much. Yeah, I enjoy it, but I probably need a couple of years enjoying before getting into ZBrush character art. But why though? Why can't you just go into ZBrush now? Like I have experience in ZBrush, so I don't know how to interpret 2D courses into ZBrush. Yeah, I don't know about that. Waiting for the perfect movie, you'll never start exactly. If you want to start ZBrush, just open ZBrush. Is this curved? Maybe it could be like that. That could be cool. What's under here? Oh, it's that. Yo, thanks for the Prime. I appreciate it, man. Been a minute since I've caught a live stream. Yeah, it's been a while. Yo, someone before was asking about like where a VOD was from like 2018. I'm just like, fuck, that was like 7 years ago. That's so brutal to think that I mean, I haven't, there's a bit of a break, but the fact that I've been streaming for like 7 years is fucking crazy. Hypothetically, if you were to create the Bladerunner car for work in the film industry, how many days would it take you to finish the modeling? We would probably get maybe 20 days. Yeah, if I was to be given this, I would probably get 20 days to do it. So 28-hour days, 1 month, maybe. That would be on the higher end. Hype train? Oh, yeah. I forgot about all the Twitch lingo stuff. What do you do if you finish early? That's will physically never happen. Never. Usually, if anything, we just run out of time. Like at work, like it's just in general, I never feel like things can always be better, right? You never just finish and have time to spare. Like usually we just run out of time. Like things can always be a lot better, but then time is up. We got to move on to the next thing. 2018 was 8 years ago. To be fair, the stream was like in the later part of 2018. So I'm trying to make myself not feel as bad by saying it's 7 years. Usually you guys push. Me personally, I usually don't. I'm usually pretty good at hitting my deadlines. But yeah, I know for sure. I'm more likely to finish early than late, usually. But usually just because I know it's good enough. Like, depends what it is. Sometimes we can just wrap it early. It's not often, but Difference between an amateur and a professional. The amateur wants to make the best model possible. The pro wants to make the best model that gets approved by the deadline. Yeah, that's pretty much it. It's like, honestly, this is actually a pretty important thing to talk about, honestly, as far as like being a professional goes. A big part of being professional is knowing what to focus on in the limited time you have. Like, say, for example, like I do have some students that will be like, I'll be like, block out the suspension, and then they'll spend a week making a super high res suspension. I'm like, that wasn't the best use of time. Like there's other things more important to focus on first. That sort of thing is very important, is knowing where to invest your effort. Like I could make a super crazy complex bottom that no one will ever see. So we shouldn't invest much time on the bottom. It's like that sort of stuff. Oh, Crimson's still working on his 6-month project. Make it exist first, make it good later. Yeah, I mean, that's a pretty good summary of what I'm doing here, right? I'm just trying to make all the forms exist. We'll make it better later. Six-month project. I remember when you started that, it was a 6-month side project that ended up being like 6 years. That's so funny. We're going to delete all of this? Hell no. I'm not a fan of building things twice. We are going to use this as the base for the next stage. So what's going to happen, right, is after we get all the base forms in, we're going to subdivide everything up to the next level, like this. And then we're going to go through here and refine the next level. Do what we need, like, cut in all the extra things, fix the circles which aren't subdivided correctly, stuff like that, fix these dents. Then we subdivide again, and then that will be our base mesh. So the idea is we build it in stages and we subdivide everything up at different levels together, which, eventually people will see the full process on the video. So I'm not working on this at all outside of stream. So everyone's going to see everything I do on this. If I do a change or something, you'll see it. Do you think creasing is the best way about blocking? I agree. I agree. I think it is. I know a lot of people don't use creasing. I think they're missing a very powerful tool, but I use creasing for everything. Literally everything. Like even stuff like, say for example, I have something like this. And then I've decided like I want to have like a curve through here. You're not saying you always have to do this, but you can do something like this, right? Where you kind of like crease everything, get that, and then subdivide this. And then this could be your next. See how we've now created like a nice base mesh with like supporting edges and everything super quickly. And now we have the curve we need. So I use creasing for everything. You can do stuff like, say for example, we have something like this. Imagine we had like imagine this was like a panel. Let's do that actually. I'm gonna pull this out this way, and then this way, this way. Imagine we have like, let me rethink this actually. We can do something like this, and then you just like crease this. Oh, let me just do this as well actually. You can use creasing to get cylinders from everywhere essentially. You can also do stuff like, imagine we have, let's do another thing actually quickly. Imagine we know we're going to subdivide up. We can do stuff like we can get this point here, we can bevel it. So we got 5 n-gons, right? And then we can do the same thing where we crease those, extrude this down. And then when we subdivide this, it's going to turn these into quads. So we can achieve the same sort of thing on vertex if we need. So like creasing is super useful as like a modeling tool, right? How you go rid of, oh, you just select it, and then I use bevel and turn chamfer off. And there you go. See, this shit would be more useful to you than AI. Like this is what I mean. So say for example, the Harkonnen Ornithopter has all of these sort of bulge things like dots kind of cut into it. And this is how I did it. I had all these n-gons everywhere. Oh God, this one's pretty bad. Circularized component. And you just crease them. And then when you subdivide, it will fix a lot of the topology for you. So this could be a way of dealing with like if you need lots of little indents and stuff like that. This is one way of doing it. Last time I did high poly, I used the triple edge trick instead of manually doing edge loops. Yeah, totally. Like, I don't know if people know about this, but say you have your edges, right? If you bevel the edge, but then you turn the chamfer off, it'll give you supporting edge loops. Oh God. So instead of manually adding the stuff in, you can just use the bevel tool to do it for you. Sounds like a skateboarding move, yeah. Do you use creasing for high poly? I use creasing as a modeling tool, but then the final is triple edge. This is my just standard sort of workflow for this stuff. Like the problem is you can see this bit here is super jank. It's just because there's not enough topology here. But like when I do, what I'll do is I'll subdivide up, and then now we have more density. I'll probably go through this again and get the proper form I need later. Do you have a method when beveling for missing edges? What do you mean by missing edges? I guess people don't know creasing because they don't know it exists. Yeah, that could be it. Oh, I totally missed someone's message. The WoW guys are talking about that. People were complaining about not being able to have houses off the ground. Oh yeah, I saw that. Yeah, that's pretty funny. They did you Broken River? Do you know what happened with the? Do you know what the end result was of the houses being lifted off the ground thing was? So what happened, right, was people did all this cool, crazy shit while they were floating the houses off the ground. Like, there's a way to do it. People were doing so much cool, crazy shit with it. Making, like, fucking, like, Gundams and shit like that. Like, someone made, like, house moving castle and stuff like that. And then Blizzard thought it was so cool that they were like, all right, we won't fix it. We'll make it part of the process. So now Blizzard is going back and fixing the bottom of the houses so people can float them because people did cool shit with it. None of the top Subdivision was. Oh, totally. That's why they had to rebuild. That's why they had to rebuild a lot of the original world in Cataclysm, was because they have flying mounts now. But yeah, how long have we been streaming for? What time do we start? How would you go about modeling a very detailed wheel? Oh god, that's a whole rabbit hole to go down. 2 hours and 30 minutes? Shit, I didn't realize we've been going for so long. I'm getting pretty hungry, so I'm gonna probably wrap soon. I'll answer your question about the wheel though. There's a lot of ways of doing a wheel. Which one would we do though? You can do things like, probably what I would do is maybe if you have like a wheel, you would figure out how many spans there are. Let's just do like, this is not gonna be correct, but say we have 60. Actually, just to make your life easier, maybe let's do 36. just for the sake of it. And then we create like a locator or something like that. Wait, where's my locator? Oh, it's here. There's many different ways of doing the wheel. This is just kind of one of them. What you could do is like essentially use duplicate special. And if you make like, you need more spans than this. I'm just doing it because it's kind of a bit easier. So rotate 10 degrees. We want 35 copies. Is this the right one? Yeah, cool. So now you've created like an instance. And then what you can do is you can literally just start doing like your modeling, your tread, however you want as like a copy and start doing this sort of stuff, right? I'm not going to model a proper tread or anything now, but this is one way you could do it. So that's one way. There's also different ways though. You can also model it independently and then connect it separately afterwards if you want. Essentially, you've got the same sort of idea, but you have like imagine you have like your base tire and then you just instance, oh fuck, I've lost all my stuff. It would instance just the tread itself, not actually the tire. So let me just get rid of this stuff. So you'd have like your tire like literally a separate geo, and then you'd have to like physically connect it later if you wanted. Like you can do it separately that way if you want. I would probably just do the first one I did. So it's essentially the same idea, but you'd have to manually connect them to each other later. That's another one. The professor says to make one small part and duplicate all around. Yeah, so we're essentially doing that, but with a reference instead. I mean, with references instead. What are your thoughts on displacement map for wheel? Sure, if it's not seen up close, do it in displacement. If it is going to be seen, do it as model. It's always about if it's seen or not. If it's seen close, do the model for sure. Always do the model. Model will always be better than displacement, but displacement is good if we don't need to see it from up close. But yeah, I've been streaming for a while. I'm getting kind of hungry. Thanks for streaming, everyone. It's cool to see everyone again. I will be streaming again next Sunday. But yeah, thanks for streaming, everyone. I will catch you all later. See ya. Bye.